when learning a new language, for me, one of the most important things is learning the culture where that language is spoken. Because language is a way of expressing concepts, emotions. And we cannot understand a word if we do not really grab that concept. And when we translate from one language to another, one of the greatest challenges is when there are concepts that exist in one context of one culture and do not exist in the other. And we have a lot of that issue in Buddhism, because there are very important words in Buddhist practice and philosophy that do not exist in English, that do not exist in Portuguese or in Spanish or in Italian or any of our Western languages. There are concepts that simply do not exist. So when we translate, we bring a new concept, but we attach to it a word that means something else. And there are two fundamental concepts, two fundamental words into the Buddhist path, which in Sanskrit is punya and papam. In Tibetan we call sonam and dikpa, which somehow are translated as merit and negative karma. Okay? But before finding the right translation, which I sincerely believe doesn't exist, let's go through the concept. Let's understand what it is. Okay? It starts all with a very simple concept. Nothing exists without having had its own causes. There is no result without causes. If we can eat a fruit, it's because at some point a seed was planted and from it came the tree. There is no possibility to experience a result without having had the cause. So if we want to have any type of result, where do we need to put our energy? Into the cause. It's like we all like flowers. But if we truly want to have many beautiful flowers, where we need to put our energy? Into flowers or into good soil, seeds, and fertilizing the land, and water and sun? We need to put energy into having the right seeds and the right conditions. If we have good seeds, good soil, sun, water, flowers will blossom. So once we put the energy into the causes and in the conditions, the result naturally will ripen. There are mainly two types of results which we experience through sensation. There is the result which is experienced through the sensation of pleasure, of well-being. And then there are the experiences that we have of suffering. Okay? Suffering, basically, it's every sensation that we have, that we want it to end as soon as possible and for it not to come back again. While happiness or well-being are all the sensations that we have, we want it to continue as long as possible and we want it to come back as soon as possible. So, we cannot experience joy or we cannot experience sufferings if we have not made the causes before. This is a very simple and basic concept in Buddhism, which is the law of interdependence. Causes, conditions, results. So, if we want to have good results, where we need to put our energy? Into accumulating good causes so that we can create good conditions and experience good results. If we want to avoid negative results, what we need to do? Stop creating negative causes and stop avoiding negative conditions so we don't have negative results. If we make an example which is more material, but maybe it helps us to understand, we are free to buy anything we like as long as we have the money and it is for sale. If we don't have the money, we cannot buy it, even though it's for sale. And if we have the money, but it is not for sale, we also cannot buy. Having the money, we do not generate the money in one day. We accumulate the money. Month after month, day after day, year after year, we accumulate the money. Then we can use the money to buy a house, to do anything that we want, as long as it is for sale. The condition does not depend necessarily on us. It depends on the people around us, it depends on the environment, and it depends on our own choices also. So the causes is like accumulating the money. The conditions is like being for sale. The result is getting what we want. So normally in the present moment, when we experience something, we think it's possible to experience that because of the direct causes that were there. Which means, what was the last thing that I did that allowed me to be here? But truly speaking, if we are here now, what we experience in the present has been caused by so many things in such a long time. There are things that were done years ago that we experience the result now. So the concept of merit means creating the causes that as a result will bring happiness and well-being. And we need to accumulate that causes if we want to experience happiness and well-being. Negative karma, papam in Sanskrit, dikpa in Tibetan, means causes that will manifest as suffering. So if I don't want to suffer, what I need to do? I need to avoid creating new causes. Normally negative causes are generated through anger, hatred, violence. And positive causes or merits, punya, sonam, are created through generosity, through love, through respect, through gratitude. So through this we generate positive causes that will be the basis to sustain an inner state of well-being and happiness. One thing that is very important is that our own experience, our own inner state of mind of happiness or suffering, it's sustained not by the conditions where we are, but by the experiences of the past that we have created. Karma literally means action. It's the interaction that we do with everything that we do. So it means every action that I do, I am creating an interaction that sooner or later I will experience the result of that action. That's karma. So if we want to have good results, we must create good causes. That's a very simple fact. So in the daily Buddhist practice, there is the part of accumulating merit, which means to do with consciousness positive actions, actions that will generate this energy, this we call positive karma, which means positive interaction, that will give this support for a state of happiness and well-being. Otherwise, if we put a lot of energy only in the conditions, we can be the richest guy in the world. We can be famous, we can have power, we can have beautiful, wonderful people around us and still be very miserable. If we have good causes inside, even though the conditions are very simple, we can be in peace with ourselves and live happily. So, merit is the positive causes that will sustain an inner state of happiness and satisfaction, while dikpa, or negative actions, are the causes that will sustain an inner experience of suffering and a miserable life. Okay? So it's part of our daily practice to create actions that will sustain our state of peace so we can help others to do the same.